Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Justine.
And I'm Danielle.
And this is
That's What They Called News. Good evening, friend.
Good evening.
How's life been?
Oh my God. It's been so busy. We are almost finished. I mean, tonight was really the last night with fair. And we live in a very rural ag community. Mm-hmm. And so my daughter is in 4-H. And she had to show a horse. Mm-hmm. She had to do, she did pulls and barrels on her horse. Mm-hmm. She did dog obedience, dog showmanship, and dog agility.
Wow.
She showed hand pets, which she has a guinea pig. And then she won grand champion for horse showmanship. Mm-hmm. So she got to move on to what they call it a round robin. And so she had to go in this morning and show all of the animals. Oof. So she had to show a steer, a pig, a sheep, and a goat along with her horse. Mm-hmm. So it's been a busy week, 2 weeks really. And I'm really glad that we are done.
Well, this is the child that at preschool graduation said she wanted to be a bambine when she grew up.
No, preschool graduation was a cowgirl.
Oh.
The bambine was like her 3rd birthday, though.
I swear I remember the video from preschool graduation.
No, that was not a cheerleader.
The cowgirl. Yeah.
I've watched it several times recently because her preschool teacher was like, look at her, she's living her dreams. And I'm like, what? And she's like, she's a cowgirl. And I was like, okay. So I went back and watched it, and sure enough, she said she wanted to be a cowgirl. And that she is.
Yeah.
Or as my stepdaughter says, she is a horse girl because why? She doesn't ride a cow.
I suppose that makes sense.
All right, so
what are we talking about today?
Today is not going to be a real interesting story per se. I mean, I find it super interesting. I'm not sure you will. But for us more...
I'll try to pretend.
The people who are here for the history side of things and not the comedic
Us more what?
Us more what?
You said for us more, well...
I was going to say history buffs. Okay. The people who are here for the history
and
not...
Good cover up.
Not just the fun.
Good cover up.
This will pertain to you. You will find this entertaining. Uh-huh. So we're going to be talking about the financial panics of the 1800s.
Not the financial panties, like I thought that said.
No.
From 4 feet away in friend's handwriting.
Definitely panics. Not the panties. So this guy breaks down all of the financial panics that they had in the 1700s.
Okay.
And there were 4. Maybe more than 4, but we'll see. And he goes through and tells us why they happened. And I think you'll find that it's very similar and that history does indeed repeat itself.
Yes.
So.
Okay.
So let's start here.
Okay.
This is from the Watchman and Southron, September 20th, 1893. The Great Panics. Causes and the country's principal financial convulsions. Wow. I like convulsions better than panics. Great financial convulsions. All right. Many financial crises have occurred in the United States during the century, and a few over its existence. 4 of them, those of 1819, 1837, 1857, and 1873, will be mentioned in detail here, and their causes as well as their consequences set forth. These are the most extensive and disastrous industrial commercial convulsions which the country has known. The ill effects in each case being felt for several years. The gold bubble of Black Friday in 1869 will also be touched upon. The reason for it and the effects which sprung from it noted. I didn't know there was a Black Friday in 1869.
I really thought that was like a started in the 90s thing or something.
I think what we know of Black Friday is definitely from the 90s. But they may have had it before then. I just wasn't alive, really. I mean, I was alive. But I was really little alive. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
You were really young?
Yes.
Oh,
I was
okay.
really young. Like little alive.
Little alive.
I was just a little bit alive.
Oh my gosh.
But this one was not as fun as Black Friday as we know it. Well, I don't think Black Friday as we know it now is fun.
No, I kind of detest Black Friday.
Amen. All right. I definitely am waiting for Cyber Monday or the Small Business Saturday. Is
I
that
have
the one
no
I do?
idea.
Whatever. Okay.
I just kind of buy things when I need them.
Yeah. Same.
Like,
I buy things when I have the money to buy them.
Yep.
That's how I roll.
Anyway, will you please tell me about these financial convulsions?
Yeah, I know you're dying to hear about it.
I am. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Real quick, my ear.
That's your eye.
My eye itch. I've had a really long week.
Oh my god. It's only Thursday.
It feels like it feels like it should not be Thursday. All right, moving on. In the popular mind, the 8 years, 1817 to 25, of Monroe in the presidency are memorable merely for the, quote, era of good feeling, end quote. The passage of the Missouri Compromise and the...
Let me see this one. Show me.
Sometimes my brain puts the letters in the wrong spots.
The passage of them is... Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Promulgation?
Yeah, promulgation.
Promulgation. Promulgation.
There
you go.
All right. Of the so-called Monroe Doctrine. It was notable also for another event, the occurrence of the most extensive and serious business disturbance which the country had known along to that time. As the Missouri Compromise of 1820 was the first of the series of great slavery diggers and deal, which ended with the concessions of 1850. So the Panic of 1819 may be considered the first of a series of extended financial convulsions, the latest of which began in 1873. Wild and extended speculation was one of the immediate causes of the business disaster, which set in 1819, and another was the heavy merchandise importations from Europe, and especially from England, which the close of the War of 1812 to 15 precipitated on the country. The speculation started with the reorganization of the United States Bank in 1817, which materially improved the facilities for business credits. Mismanagement on the part of some of the higher officials of the Second United States Bank, and the favors which it granted to unscrupulous borrowers, gave an impetus to speculation such as had never been known before, brought the bank into trouble early in its career and obliged it to curtail its credits and call in many of its loans. Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
The speculators who had been working the institution in their own interests were thus brought up with a short turn, and a general collapse in the fictitious values which their wild operations had caused was precipitated. The bank in this way saved itself and ultimately put the business of the country on a solid basis again. But for 2 or 3 years, the trade prostration was serious and widespread, and great distress was occasioned. Yeah, I think that sounds pretty... I think I lived through that before. Or currently living it. The tariffs connection with the Panic of 1819 came around this way. About the time of the outbreak of the war with England in 1812, Congress, as a war measure, doubled the rates of all existing duties. This law remained in operation 4 years. Imports practically ceased under this law, and the risks which the war caused to commence and the capital of the country turned at once to manufacturing as its best avenue for profit. The shipping interest was crippled by the war, and the legislation hampering on foreign commerce, and a large part of the money invested in this interest was diverted to other channels, but chiefly to manufacturing. The close of the war and the expiration of a little later of the war tariff found the country with a large number of factories than it could have gained in 3 or 4 times that period in any other condition. And the factories were able to go a long way toward fully supplying the country with commodities in their line. When the restraints against foreign commerce were removed, the country was flooded with cheaper and doubtless better goods from England. And the domestic manufacturer found a competition he could not cope with on existing terms. Factories began to close at once, and eventually this produced the condition of uncertainty and depression, which the collapse of speculation before mentioned intensified into panic and transformed the prolonged financial and industrial prostration. Businessmen of all kinds adjusted themselves to the new conditions, however, as well as they could, and the wise action of the United States Bank, already alluded to, at length restored confidence, while the tariff of 1842 afforded the manufacturers reasonable protection in the direction in which they needed it. Quote, "I leave this great country prosperous and happy," end quote, said Jackson in a farewell address about the time he left the presidency. In the early part of 1837. Appearances were delusive, however. Scarcely had Jackson's successor, Van Buren, entered the White House when the most widespread and disastrous financial convulsions which the United States has ever known set in. Now we're moving on to the next one. The panic. I think that happens with every exchange of presidency. Exchange of presidency. I'm not sure that's the right term for it, but whenever we get a new president, I feel like there's always like that first 2 years is just shit.
Yes. And it's always, I have to clean up the mess that he left.
Yeah.
And
like, I'm not going to do anything else. But
right.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting in the next couple of years. That's all I know.
I saw a post on, it was somebody's bumper sticker or something like that. And it said, how about we don't re-elect anybody?
Anybody.
Because there are new people running.
Yep.
Apparently. I'm not going to lie. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention past the Pew Pew incident the other day. I don't want to get started. I don't either, but I haven't paid any attention. So I don't know who's running other than the 2 jackwagons that everybody knows about. So apparently there are other options than those 2. So maybe we should all just
re-elect anyone.
There you go.
That'll work.
Anyway.
The Panic of 1837 was more extensive and serious than that of 1819. The country was considerably more populous, and the business interests were far more diverse and important. That's sad. They weren't important in 1819.
Nope.
About 9 million, not mine. 9 million inhabitants were in the country when the crash of 1815 set in, and 16 million were here when the convulsion of 1837 took place. The difference in the volume of business between the 2 dates cannot be so readily figured out, but it was enormous. About the time that Van Buren entered upon his duties, a large business house in New Orleans failed. This was the beginning of the Panic of 1837. The financial storm, which had been gathering during the whole of the Jackson administration, now burst forth with terrible fury. Loans were called in by the banks. Bank circulation was contracted, and businessmen and of the highest standing in the community were being denied accommodation by the financial institutions, were unable to meet their debts. Banks, too, went down in the tempest. Business houses, which had successfully weathered many financial gales, were wrecked. All sorts of property immediately and immensely declined in values. Suddenly, everybody seemed to be insolvent. Confidence vanished. Nobody would trust anybody. Unreasoning terror seized almost the entire community. Business came to a standstill. Are you having flashbacks right now? Because I am.
Yes.
Yeah. Excuse me. Being outside at the fair all week has also gotten my allergies way out of control.
I believe that.
Ugh, I'm miserable.
Have you gotten an allergy shot this year, friend?
No. Because I don't have time to go to the doctor. I need to go to the chiropractor too, and I haven't made that appointment yet. In New York City alone, in March and April 1837, the failures reached an enormous sum of $100 million.
That's a lot.
Do you want to guess what it is today?
This was in
1837.
I'm going to guess $1 billion because I don't know.
3.2 billion.
3.2 billion?
$1 billion.
Wowza.
In New York, I feel like I should have a mini me when I said them.
Or Mr. Bigglesworth.
Yes.
Big ol' fluffy cat.
In New Orleans, in the same time, they aggregated $50 million. Other business centers suffered severely also. All the banks in New York suspended specie, which I had to look up. It says money in the form of coins, but I think I've seen it in a few articles so far, and I think that just refers to like cash.
Okay.
And the way they're using it. I don't think they were just dealing with coins, is my point.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. I think they had paper money then. So, yeah. All banks in New York suspended specie payments, and the legislature of that state authorized the suspension to continue for 1 year. Banks in other cities followed the example of those in New York, and species virtually disappeared from circulation. Even the United States government had the greatest difficulty to obtain gold and silver, and it was compelled to pay the Army and Navy in paper money, which, though worth its face at the time of payment, might be immensely reduced in value tomorrow.
Weird.
Crazy.
Didn't we just go through a whole coins shortage, like, in the last 10 years or something?
Yeah, I believe it was 2020.
Yeah, like everybody.
Like it added onto the everything.
Yeah. They wanted everybody to pay with their change because the banks were running out or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the world was ending.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I want to take my money with me when I go, damn it.
Right? Factories and business enterprise of most sorts stopped altogether or were run on quarter or half time. The great numbers of employees were thrown out of work. Oh, no, not the great. And great numbers of employees were thrown out of work. A deputation of merchants and bankers from New York called on President Van Buren in May 1837, 2 months after he gained office, and appealed to him to summon an extra session of Congress to provide means of relief from the prevailing distress. Congress was called to assemble on September 8th, but beyond the passage of a bill authorizing the issue of $10 million in Treasury notes, it did very little of what the people demanded or what Van Buren desired. In the regular session, however, Congress passed an independent Treasury bill, which Van Buren recommended, providing a special receptacle for the money of the government, which had previously been deposited in a few banks called, by the government's foes, pet banks. Out of this law developed the Treasury and the sub-treasuries, the latter of which are situated in the chief cities. In Tyler's presidency, the independent treasury scheme was repealed, but under Polk, it was reenacted. So those sub-treasuries, would that be like the mints, like the Denver Mint, or are those different altogether?
I don't know an answer to that, but it sounds logical for that to be correct.
I mean, I don't know. But I know there's a mint in Denver.
All I keep thinking about is Alexander Hamilton.
I know. It's really hard. I'm trying not to, like, pull things that, like, remind me of that. But, like, yeah, no.
No, all of this because of the Treasury.
Because of the Treasury. Else. And really, I have no idea how he wanted it set up. Like, nope. I know he had a hand in it. But I don't know, like, what his idea was.
Nope.
Maybe I should look back for that.
Meh.
No, not that interested.
Nope.
All right.
Sorry.
promise I have more entertaining things to come. All
Okay.
right. I have things planned all the way to October.
I'm excited about that.
And then in October, witches.
We get to talk about witches for my birthday?
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
excited about it.
We'll keep
All right.
talking about money, I suppose.
Okay. Without $1 of national debt, the ex-president Without $1 of national debt, said ex-president John Quincy Adams, then in the early part of his long and illustrious service in the House of Representatives, we are in the midst of national bankruptcy. This was the actual situation in 1837. All the government's obligations had been met, and a large surplus had been accumulated. Part of this had been distributed among the states in proportion to their number of representatives in the House. This was deemed to be the best way of getting rid of the surplus, which nobody supposed at the time that the government would ever need again.
A surplus of money?
Yeah.
I hate it when that happens.
Or like just that, I don't know, because like I think like the national debt also includes like commodities. So it could have been commodities, but
Okay. I have a fun little side fact.
cool.
So I've never like researched this on my own, but apparently, according to like my dad's great aunt or somebody, I am related to both of the President Adams.
Well,
So
aren't you cool?
yeah, I am. It's never gotten me anywhere in my life. Having the last name of Adams.
But hey,
It's my claim to non-fame.
non-fame.
Anyway.
Oh, jeez. These are the chief causes of the Panic of 1837. 1. Congress, during Jackson's administration, refused to renew the charter of the United States Bank, and this called into existence a large number of wildcat banks, and put hundreds of millions of dollars in face value of irredeemable currency in circulation. What?
Whoops.
What are you giggling about?
I wasn't. I was yawning in a very odd fashion because I was trying to stifle my yawn, and so it like huffed. I don't know.
Why do I always feel the need to cough, sneeze, burp, yawn? I'm gonna do it right now.
While we're in the middle of this?
Yes, it never
Yeah.
happens until the moment we hit record, and then
usually
I'm
have
like,
to
I need to do
clear
all
my
of the
throat.
bodily functions. I'm really sorry, guys. 2. This cheap money encouraged speculation, which took the form of investment in wild lands, and which carried on to an extraordinary and insane extent. 3. The government called in the gold and silver, which it had deposited in certain state banks, the pet banks, which crippled these institutions. 4. The government also refused to sell any more public lands except for specie. The order to this effect was sent by the so-called specie circulation to the various government land agents. See, that's where I've got I don't think they're talking about coins. I don't think they're requiring people to buy land in coins.
No, that would be a lot of coins.
How many 5-gallon water jugs do you think people coins?
So many.
So many. These circumstances created the crisis. The banknotes went into disuse at once, and when the government refused to take them, businessmen could neither collect debts nor pay them. Speculation stopped, and the smash came. The smash.
Hulk smash.
I want to call it smashes again instead of crashes. In 1857, the third of the greatest financial crises occurred. This was a stormy period. The passage of the Kansas-Nebraska bills 3 years earlier had repealed the Missouri Compromise and thrown the territories open to slavery. The sections were beginning to prepare themselves for the desperate political struggle which was to occur at the polls 3 years later. And the shadow of the greater and fiercer struggled lying Lying beyond was already looming up. And the shadow of the greater and fiercer struggled lying beyond was already looming up.
That sentence doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me either.
Okay. Glad we're on the same page.
But the financial situation drew men's thoughts away from the coming political combats and concentrated them on the immediate danger. The Panic of 1857 was ushered in by the failure of the Ohio Life and Trustee. Is it Trustee Company? I wrote Trustee, but I'm not sure if that Y is supposed to be on there.
Probably Trust Company.
I'm thinking probably, but maybe Trustee. I don't know. Things were different.
Real reliable.
Of Cincinnati, which occurred on August 24th of that year. This was in the first year of the Buchanan administration, as the beginning of the Panic of 1837 had been in the first year of the administration of Van Buren. See, everybody's first year sucks. Mm-hmm. The liabilities of the Ohio Life and Trust Company were over $7 million. It was an institution whose credit and prestige stood especially high. When it fell, it brought banks and business houses in different parts of the country down with it. Several banks in Philadelphia succumbed soon to the storm. Runs were made on banks in principal cities in the various states. The suspensions of specie payments became general, though not quite universal. Factories and other large business enterprises stopped work, and immense numbers of people were thrown out of employment. A widespread frustration in business set in. For a year or thereabouts, the scenes of 1837 were repeated. The rally occurred quicker, however, than it did from the Panic of 1837. For most of the strong banks resumed specie payments within 6 months after the crash set in. But it was 1860 before all the traces of the financial wreck were removed. That's like 23 years.
That's a long time.
That's a really long time. The principal causes of the financial convulsion of 1857 were 1. Wild speculation in lands. 2. Excessive building of railroads. 3. Overproduction in most lines of manufactured goods. 4. Inflated prices on the general articles of necessity and on many articles of luxury. These were the immediate causes. The ultimate cause was the discovery of gold in California.
Yeah.
You would think that the discovery of gold would maybe help.
You would think.
Maybe he'll explain why it didn't.
I would like that.
The finding of the the California gold fields was one of the great events of the first half of the 19th century. Mm-hmm. It stimulated trade not only in the United States, but in every civilized land, and exerted an influence on the commerce, industry, and social life of the world, which is felt to this day. Its first effect, however, is in this country was far from beneficent. It started an insane speculation, and led to the general trade excesses pointed out in the preceding paragraph, which, in the reaction that was inevitable, resulted in disaster in 1857 and 1858. Everybody supposed he was going to get rich in a hurry, and consequently, he put highly exaggerated prices on everything he had to sell. And the same hopeful feeling led him to pay without a murmur excessive prices for the things he had to buy. Lands were bought with the expectation of being sold the next day at a large increase. Railroads were constructed on the assumption that the tremendous expansion in population and wealth hoped for would enable them to pay immense dividends at once, while in reality, many of these roads were beyond the needs of the country for the next dozen years. The same buoyant spirit led to the overproduction in all kinds of goods. Everybody was going to be wealthy anyhow, and therefore everything which was made would find ready purchasers at high prices. The awakening from this dream was rude, but it was salutary, and business as well as men's plans and expectations eventually adjusted themselves to the normal conditions. I feel like we're kind of living that right now.
Yes, because everything is way more expensive than it should be, and we're all still getting paid the same amount.
But there's still people out there who are willing to pay those higher prices, and I'm like, nah, dude.
Nah.
Thanks. Now we're going to talk about Black Friday.
Yay! Tell me all about it.
All right. Black Friday, which came in 1869, is the next on the list of monetary disturbances. This affair, however, was a mere flurry, and those immense sums of money were made and lost by it. And Wall Street was demoralized for several days, yet its effects on general business were only transient compared to those of 1857 and 1873. Jim Fisk, who was killed 2 or 3 years later by Edward S. Stokes, and Jay Gould were the big figures which organized the Black Friday deal. Their object was to corner the gold market and force gold up to 180. Gold was then a commodity and was bought and sold like ordinary merchandise or like stocks. It was at a premium in our currency and remained so until January 1st, 1879, when specie payments were resumed by the government. The conspirators controlled, or imagined the control, of nearly all the gold held in private hands and got it at about 131. By manipulation, they at length sent it up to 150. This was the price at which it stood on the morning of Friday, September 24th, 1869, Black Friday. So basically, they're just trying to force the price of gold up.
Okay.
Jerks. Everybody felt that the corner could not be broken unless the government sold gold. While the clique boasted that the government was on its side, the prices, which started at 150 on this memorable Friday, were slowly but steadily forced up to 162, while bulletins posted in every city in the country showed the advances. Such excitement was never seen in the country at any other time, as was shown on that day.
Sorry, I yawned again.
It just comes out of nowhere.
Yep.
But the culminating point was reached when the quotation touched 162. Unknown to the conspirators, the Treasury had come to the rescue. At the 162 bid, $1 million was sold to the clique, and the prices went down to 161. And at that rate, and at once down at 161, at the rate and at 160, other sums were sold, and all by the same individual. Consternation seized the clique, and they, as well as the onlookers, began to realize that this individual, who stood claim in the midst of convulsion, must have measureless resources at his back. Suddenly, his identity was divined. Like lightning, word went through the exchange. The Treasury is selling. Scores of operators rushed to sell, and in a few minutes, the quotation had dropped to 135. The gold bubble had burst, and Black Friday passed into history. Stock markets aren't really something that I completely understand. Nor do I really completely care to understand.
Nope.
My sister came up with some sort of investment thing that she thought was a really good thing to buy in on. Mm-hmm. And so she told us all about it. And so she's like, I really think this is a good deal if everybody wants to buy a few shares. So, of course, my dad's like, well, let's just all go in and buy a chunk of them and then we'll just split them up. And I was like, well, I don't have the money to invest in stock right now. Are you kidding me? At this rate, I'm working until I'm dead.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, I'll buy your part. And I'm like, whatever. Mm-hmm. And why? I don't get it. I don't even remember what it was they were investing in.
I have no idea.
My sister, I know at least one of them listens to this podcast, and she's probably going to be like, you're such a fucking idiot.
Is she the one that suggested the stock buying thing?
No.
Oh, it was the other one?
Yeah, one of the other ones. I think Mallory and Megan both listen.
Okay.
If you listen, hi sisters. I'm not sure Allie does. But
wouldn't
Megan,
surprise
if
me if
Allie
she doesn't,
you should make her. Okay, that's all. The bubble burst. Mm-hmm. Next on the country's I can't read. Next on the list of the country's financial convulsions, and the latest of all of them thus far, was that of 1873. Early in that year, a general feeling of insecurity began to be felt in business circles. Banks curtailed their loans and exercised greater discrimination in bestowing their favors. Shrewd businessmen, too, shortened their periods of credit. The knowing ones on all sides began to prepare for the financial tornado, which they felt to be impending. And yet, when the storm did come, it may be said to have taken this country by surprise. My phone just beeped like I got a text, and I was like, how did they know? They can't hear this yet. It's not like we're doing this live. I thought it was one of my sisters. My daughter.
That's great.
In September, the crash came. On the 8th day of that month, the New York Security and Warehouse Company sank under its load of Missouri, Kansas, and Texas. On the 13th, Daniel Drew's firm went down with Canada Southern, and on the 17th, the fateful 17th of September, the great banking house of J. Cook & Co. was buried under the weight of the Northern Pacific, and the panic of 1873 was on. Then, banking and business concerns on all sides collapsed, and the New York Stock Exchange put up its shutters for the time being. In the remainder of 1873, the scenes of calamity witnessed in 1837 and 1857 were reported. Banks suspended payments temporarily throughout the greater part of the country, and many of them were wrecked permanently. Factories suspended or reduced hours of labor, large numbers of employees were thrown out of work, and the distress was widespread and serious. The effects of the panic lasted until about the middle of 1877, or about a year and a half before the resumption by the government of the specie payments, which had been suspended in the early part of the Civil War. The principal causes for the panic of 1873 may be broadly summarized thus. 1. The heavy, inflated, and fluctuating currency. 2. Large exports of gold. 3. Excessive railway building. 4. Heavy speculation in real estate and other directions. In 1873 and along to the beginning of 1879, gold was merchandised and was bought and sold like other merchandise or property dealt in on the commercial exchanges, and was subject to rapid fluctuations in value. For many years, too, the exports of gold largely exceeded the imports, in response to an adverse balance of trade and other causes. Railway building in the West during that era had gone beyond the demands of business for half a dozen or half a score of years to come, which... It seems silly now because they shut all of our railroads down a few years back, and now they're talking about bringing them back.
Yeah, that's just really silly to me.
It's just nuts.
Well, because how long has it been since a train has run through it?
A long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
The amount of work that they would have to put in to make that a passable railway again.
They'd have to rebuild all of it.
Yeah. All of those crossings are either torn out or filled in or concreted over or...
Yeah. Over $1 billion was sunk in 1871, 1872, and the first half of 1873 in railway building, which, for the time being, was almost a dead loss. This immense sum of money being withdrawn for years from the channels of commerce to the great injury of all branches of business. The chief railroad projected at the time was the Northern Pacific, which wrecked J. Cook. The speculation in the houses and lands was not as extensive as was the railway building, but it helped to expend the bubble of fictitious values whose collapse spread demoralization and ruin on sides. Several financial flurries have occurred since 1873. Those of 1881, 84, 89, 90, and 93 being the severest. The St. Louis Globe Democrat. We made it through. Thanks for sticking with me, friend.
You're welcome. I find
it very super interesting because I feel like we lived through the 2008 stuff. I was just graduating college, or that was the end of my college. And so I was a broke ass college student trying to survive for the last couple months of the year because I worked for a mortgage company that went bankrupt. And that was in March, I feel like. And so I just had to make it through May when I was moving. So because none of the places would hire me because I was leaving in 2 months.
Yeah.
So, like, we're not going to train you just to turn around and have you leave, which I get. But also, I'm a broke college student I have bills to pay for these last couple months. But I made it through and everything was fine.
Let's see, 2008. Oh, that was a really, really rough time in my life.
I won't make you talk about it.
Let's just roll with, I had 2 babies, babies. Avery was born April of 2008.
Oh.
And, I mean, you know my story.
Yes.
So, yeah, dealing with trying to pay bills on my own and everything else that I was going through. And then, for all intents and purposes, we'll just call her my ex-mother-in-law, stopped by one day and handed me $1,000 like it was going to make a world of difference to me. I was like, bitch, this barely pays my rent. Not to sound ungrateful. It was an amazing thing. I was very grateful. It helped a little bit. However, she acted like she had basically just saved me from the being homeless.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, so like I feel like that's definitely happened before.
Sorry.
Are you good now?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, and then, the whole 2020 debacle, which that one we're going to be feeling the effects of for a long time. And, now, which with the inflation of everything and all of that.
I also saw something else that said, like, it's super easy to make it look like you have made such insane growth, like economic growth in the world when you were the one that shut it all down in the first place. Like, for where it has come back to now compared to where it was 4 years ago. Like, it's super easy to make things look phenomenal in your favor.
Statistics is my favorite subject.
Yeah, I know.
You can make anything say what you want it to say. Statistics are faulty at best, I would say.
Yes.
It's kind of like accounting. Only the really good ones know how to manipulate the system. I'm not encouraging anyone to embezzle.
No, don't do that.
Is that what I'm saying?
Nope.
Okay.
It's bad. You go to jail.
Long time. Federal offenses here. All right.
Okay. It's my turn to read now.
Yay!
We're talking about going to jail because of financial embezzling and all of that sort of stuff. And the title of this one is Diabolical Scheme of a Pension Attorney.
See? I was bringing it back around.
You were.
Just leading you into that there story. I knew it was there.
I bet. I didn't.
I didn't either.
All right. A dispatch from Pittsburgh, PA says, one of the most diabolical schemes of which a man can be guilty was laid before the local pension office in the federal building yesterday. A pension attorney has been urging old soldiers to organize and to associate President Grover Cleveland and Secretary Hoke Smith of the Department of the Interior. This pension attorney, a man reputed to be of sound mind, but in the light of his infamous scheme, his reputation on that point will likely need investigation, has been enraged at Secretary Smith's endeavor to make the pension list rolls of honor. He says it is an attempt to starve old soldiers and that the only way to stop it is to assassinate the president and secretary.
Too soon.
What?
Too soon.
Too soon. The pension attorney is not a Pittsburgher, it is said, although his identity is kept secret for the present. It says for the present.
So you read it correctly.
I did. The entire matter has been reported to Washington and will be investigated by the authorities. The foolish attorney has made himself liable to charges inciting to treason.
Oh, boy.
Well, yeah, if you're calling for an assassination of the president and the secretary.
That's so bad.
So bad. Did you have this typed up before?
I had this typed up weeks ago.
Okay.
Weeks ago.
It's insane how relevant that is right now.
Oh my god.
Oh my god is right.
Sorry.
Oh. Whoops.
It's not people, guys.
It's not funny. The coincidence of it is funny.
Yes.
Not what happened.
Circumstances is not funny.
No. The coincidence of the story being read and what just happened is the funny part. Anyway, moving on. The iron bridge damaged.
Oh no.
Yeah. The high water caused a landslide on the western bank of the Watry River last Thursday night, and this caused the two piers of the Watry Iron Bridge on that side of the river to sink in about 2.5 feet. An expert engineer has examined the bridge and says there is no danger in crossing upon it.
I'm sorry,
in its present condition. It has been temporarily fixed.
Oh, good. Great.
The Watcher Messenger.
No, I'm not crossing it.
No, I'm good. I'll stay over here.
It's fine. We put a pole up there. It's good. No problem. I know how hard it is to build a bridge out of balsam wood.
I do also.
So, no, sir. Whatever temporary fix you came up with, I'm not buying it.
And watch your teacher set weights on top of your bridge to see how strong it is. And then all of your dreams shatter with that bridge.
Yeah, because the first weight that was set on mine, it was like,
yep.
I am not an engineer.
No, I really did enjoy CAD classes in high school, though.
I didn't have those.
I did. Yeah, well. And the only reason that I took the CAD class was because I knew that we got to build shit out of balsa wood. We did a whole house. We broke up into groups and we did a whole miniature house. It was so cool. Yeah. Super awesome. Okay, a father recovers his daughter. An abduction case came to light in Columbia on September 11th. After 3 years of search, D.A. Coley of Salisbury, North Carolina, found his 13-year-old daughter, Jane, there.
3 years of searching?
Yep, 3 whole years. She was living, apparently, against her will with her step-grandfather,
gross,
B.H. Wood, an ex-deacon of the church. Why am I not surprised?
Grosser.
He is 50 years old. Between sobs, the child told her father that a year ago Wood forced her to live with him as man and wife.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Miss Coley has a sweet and pretty face framed by beautiful golden hair.
We probably shouldn't have put that part in, guys.
She is rather tall and slender, and while bright, is modest at retiring. Modest and retiring. What? Okay, I don't know what that means. She said that 3 weeks ago, Wood came by the house when her father was away and forced her against her wishes.
3 weeks ago or 3 years ago?
Well, up here it says 3 years, and down here it says 3 weeks.
Well, shit.
So, I don't know.
We don't know how long she was gone.
Nope.
Shoot.
Yeah, hold on. She said that 3 years ago, Wood came by the house when her father...
Years?
It does. I just can't read. Okay, so it says wishes right below years, and I think that my brain just said weeks.
It was skipping ahead.
Yep. Okay.
I get that.
We're going to edit that out, please, John.
No way,
please,
Jose.
Please.
Nope.
Okay. She said that 3 years ago, Wood came by the house when her father was away and forced her against her wishes to go with him. He took her to Lancaster and then to Jacksonville, Florida, where they stayed some time.
What a fucking creep.
He then carried her to Bullock County, Georgia, where they remained about 1 year. Wood made a crop there. Then they went to Augusta, and after that to Barnwell, South Carolina. They arrived in Columbia last December. After working on a farm there a while, Wood went to work in the state dispensary and has been there ever since. Miss Coley said that he treated her badly at times. She ran away once, but he caught her after she had gotten 6 miles.
That poor girl.
He tried to whip her once. She was afraid that if Wood was released, he would kill her. Coley said that for 3 years he had been tracking Wood. Friday before the storm, a railroad man from his section was in Columbia and recognized Wood there and also found out that he was living with Miss Coley. This was communicated to the father, who, after getting the necessary papers, went there. Wood is a tall, homely man. He said that about 8 years ago, his name was mixed up in such a way with a woman that he left home and came within an ace of committing suicide.
Probably should have.
He was once a deacon in the church. He declared that the girl wanted to come with him and denied that he had been living with her as his wife. He said that he had always treated her well, having sent her to school in Barnwell. I came here because she and the boy in Barnwell were trying to run off and get married. The reason I did not communicate with anybody at home was because I could not write. I sent her to school so she could learn to write. I tried to get her to write, but she would not. She and her brother once undertook to run away by themselves. I did not persuade her to come with me. I think the child is scared. Coley and his daughter left for home, and Wood will be taken back for trial by an officer.
Good.
Holy moly.
Yikes.
Okay, maybe this one will be a little more lighthearted.
Maybe.
We'll see. A Kentucky contemporary warns members of its state legislature against allowing the chaplain to pray for them because, quote, it would be better for them not to have the Lord's attention directed to their doings, end quote. There is something in this.
Who said you can't pray for us?
The Kentucky Contemporary warns of its state legislature. It was the state legislature against allowing the chaplain to pray. Oh my goodness. Because the Lord doesn't need to know what you're doing, apparently.
That's pretty good.
Oh, gosh.
You want me to jump in with mine?
Sure.
All right. This one is called A Model Newspaper Man. Writing of Mr. E.B. Hook of the Augusta Chronicle, the Evening Herald of that city, says... It's just a little tiny one, but they gave him lots of credit for it. Mm-hmm. The News and the Courier recently made the comment that Mr. E.B. Hook was a judge of whiskey and had frowned at the stuff sold by Carolina dispensaries. Mr. Hook never tasted an intoxicant of any kind in his life, never smoked a cigar, never had tobacco in his mouth, never played a card, never played pool or billiard, never bet on a horse race, and doesn't know a chicken gaff from the triangle of the French pool table.
That sounds like a really boring life.
I feel like it was supposed to be an insult, but really they're just like, this guy's like a really good guy and he follows all the rules.
Again, sounds really boring.
And this is us. I am Mr. E.B. Hook. And you are the person saying these mean things. But do you know what a chicken gaff is?
I do not.
I didn't either. And then when I looked it up, I was like, I wonder if this is another one of those things that I don't know and everybody else knows.
Okay, tell me about it.
A chicken gaff is a metal spur that they put on the chicken.
Oh, for like cockfights.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It is sad.
Okay.
All right.
Super boring life. I mean, really, that's basically my life now.
Yeah. And don't you love it?
Yeah.
I told you,
It's
friend,
pretty great.
It's awesome over here. I came to her house at 8 o'clock. It was earlier, 7:30.
Yeah.
In my pajamas. Like,
Yes.
legit. Bra off, shorts, tank top, slippers.
She did indeed. But you know what? That just goes to tell you how amazingly close and wonderful friends we are, because, you know, you have some of those friends where, like, you feel obligated to wear undergarments. And
Yeah, no, you're not one of those friends for me.
you pee 10 feet away from my bed with the door open.
Yeah, because how can you continue a conversation but you're trying to close the door?
I mean, okay, the toilet might be further away than that.
Yeah, it's pretty
But still. Like,
I mean, I got shit to say
I know.
and shit to do. But
At least you're in the bathroom to do it. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to read another one now. Okay. It's an old maid's letter.
Okay.
Okay.
I like the sassy old maids.
A pen picture of social and loving life at a noted summer resort.
Okay.
It may be that old maids are precluded in this contest. I am an old maid, for no fault of my own, goodness knows. I am also a Christian, yet kick rebelliously against my destiny. I am 45 years of age, well preserved or pickled. Unappropriated hearts are apt to curdle.
Oh my God.
It appears to be my fate to witness the billings and cooings of others. I encounter love everywhere. They are to me what a confectioner's window is to a beggar outside.
Oh my God. This poor lady, man.
Last week, there was a new arrival at our boarding house, a man, a minister. I am suited for a minister's wife.
Very much so.
Denomination is immaterial. The goal is heaven. It matters not which road one goes by. Without appearing forward, I put myself in this good man's way. I have had some pleasant chats with him and have aired my knowledge of church work. I think he dislikes to be so beset by so many vestal virgins. The number of old maids here is pathetic.
Oh dear.
Gosh. In self-defense, he has made known his celebration proclivities. His bride is the church. He is very bigoted. However, last evening, while on the pizzeria, he drew his chair quite close to an attractive widow there.
Pizzeria or the piazza?
Piazza? Pizza? Oh. Pizza. I mean, hey, maybe
He could have been going for some pizza. We don't know.
No idea. Okay, the piazza.
Piazza.
What is that?
It's like a
Yes, please gesture more so our listeners
like
can see you.
a little area.
Like a patio?
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of like the piazza, like the area where people
Using the word in the definition doesn't help me understand.
the place where like people hang out.
Okay.
Like in the olden days, they would go to the piazza, you know, and they
No, I
like,
don't know.
sit next to the fountain and
If
stuff.
I knew, I wouldn't be asking. We
In the
wouldn't even be
park?
having this conversation. I love you.
I love you too.
Anyway, he drew his chair quite close to an attractive widow here. To say that he flirted would be an insult to his cloth.
Oh,
I am down at the beach now alone. The tender glances I surprised him at rankling with me. What? The tender glances I surprised him at rankled within me. I don't know what any of that means.
Was he giving her glances?
I don't know.
Okay. There were glances being had.
Apparently. To my left sit the inevitable lover and loved one under the shelter of a...
Oh, they were giving each other looks. The widow and him. Okay. I'm following.
To my left sit the inevitable lover and loved one under the shelter of an umbrella. The breeze wafts their conversation to me. He, did you think it wicked to tell lies? She, depends. Hee hee. It's in quotations,
very
laughing
good.
Softly.
Oh no, good.
He, when I told your sister yesterday I was perfectly cured, I told a gigantic lie. She, yes, quietly. He, are you glad or sorry? She, glad. When I was well, I did not care to be cared for, but now that I am weak and ill, I like some kind, patient person to be near me and look sorry when I am out of breath and in tiresome pain. He, my darling, if I could only take your pain, I would bear it without a murmur. Aw.
What a needy bitch.
I guess.
I'm so weak. Please take care of me. Pity me. Pity me.
She, oh, no, you would not. You cannot know what my pain is.
Oh, it's
how
so
clear
bad.
and blue your eyes are. How broad your shoulders are. What a, stalwart?
Yeah, stalwart.
Okay, so what a stalwart person you are altogether. I clear my throat to acquaint them of my proximity. They look up. That would totally be me. Bah! Said the girl. It's only one of those old maids. Go on.
Oh my God.
I have reached my boarding house now. There is an appearance of hubbub. Have you heard the news?
Oh dear.
Is the inquiry from half a dozen voices. No. The Reverend has proposed to Miss L
no.
and been accepted.
Oh no.
Long Branch. I'm not sure. Long Branch Corps. Whatever that is. C-O-R period. Long Branch Corps.
Corporation.
Oh, New York Telegram. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Humph. It's a great way to end a story.
That just has like Golden Girls written all over it to me. And Mrs. L is Blanche.
I have a confession.
Okay.
I have never watched The Golden Girls. I have maybe seen some episodes like when my mom was watching it, but I gotta be honest, I haven't seen it.
I think we're gonna need to find out if it's streaming somewhere, because OMG.
I know. I think it'll be really good. I want to watch it.
Did you know that those ladies are in their like late 40s, early 50s, and they're all in like this retirement villa?
Oh my God.
In Florida or wherever?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of them is like a total hussy. And
yeah,
the other one, yeah.
Like, I feel like I know the whole storyline based on like memes that I've seen or stories or, like.
But the one-liners in that show, oh my God.
I know,
fucking hilarious.
I need to watch it.
You do.
I'll find it.
Okay.
Okay.
I would watch it with you.
I know
Like,
you
can
would.
we just have a date night once a week?
How long did it run? Like, how many seasons?
I don't know. We'll have to look into it.
Bazillion?
It was a damn good show, so hopefully.
Hopefully. I could use a good binge.
Yeah. How about Assailed by Wild Hogs?
Wild hogs.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm yawning again. Wild hogs scare the crap out of me.
They're pretty ferocious beasties.
Yeah.
So I was strolling along the bank of the Wabash at some distance from my brother's cabin when I suddenly heard a confused cracking of bushes, rattling of stones, and gnashing of teeth.
Nope.
With a loud boo-boo-o.
Boo-boo-o.
Yeah. From the ravine below. Instantly, I realized
Is that the sound that hogs make?
Boo-boo-o. I don't know. Instantly, I realized the terrors of my situation. It was one of the droves of wild hogs from which my brother had spoken warningly.
They should have fucking listened.
I took to my heels and ran to the summit of the hill, making for a large oak tree with the intention of climbing it. On my way, I seized a stout maple limb. He was going to beat up them hogs.
I would have been dead. I would have been hog food.
The trunk was so lofty that I was unable to climb the oak, but I stood with my back against it and faced my assailants, which were now upon me, squealing and grunting fiercely, a dozen of them.
Oh my God.
I shouted for help and wielded my bludgeon with good effect. The hogs were eager to get at me. First, one and then another would have advanced, snapping its ugly jaws. A blow from my club would send it squealing to the rear. My brother had told me that these hogs would make nothing of devouring a man, clothes and all, if they got a chance at him.
I have no doubt.
For 15 minutes I kept them at bay with my club, but they were coming bolder and fiercer. One had torn a piece of my pantaloons, and I was fearful that I should be unable to hold them off longer, when, to my relief, I heard my brother's voice.
Oh, thank goodness.
He soon came up, gun in hand, he had heard my cries for help. The loud report of his gun frightened the hogs, and with many loud oomphs and squeals, they scampered down the hill. But for his fortunate arrival, I probably should not be alive to tell this tale. Recollections of Wabash Valley.
All right.
That one was
intense.
It was.
I don't want to ever be attacked by a wild hog.
No, me either.
No,
I do think it would be kind of interesting to go down to like Texas or something where they have like those massive hog hunts, and like all of that would be kind of crazy.
I had a friend in New Zealand who he hunted hogs. He probably still does.
Probably.
I'm gonna talk to him in a little while.
I haven't either.
You should probably say hi.
We should. Hi, Nick.
You should tell him to listen to our podcast.
Right?
Do we have a listener in New Zealand?
That'd be cool.
That'd be super cool.
What else has he got to do? Well, it's winter for him, so he's just sitting at home by the fire. I know that's not all he does in the winter, but
he's got to warm up his cool socks.
He has so many cool socks. I wonder how Fergus is doing.
Well, I saw him on Facebook. Are you friends with him on Facebook?
I don't think so.
Oh man, you should be.
I should be.
I'm gonna Snapchat him. Oh, well, let's just Snapchat him right now.
Okay.
Let's just do it.
Picture taken. Okay, while you do that, I'm going to read this next one. Hat pins instead of spoons. Women have abandoned spoon collecting in a measure. No wonder some of them have 100 or 2 of every size, shape, and design. The last thing, a real summer diversion, is collecting silver hat pins. You will notice the elaborateness of some of these sharp implements if you take any note of millinery elsewhere than in shop windows. Most of these pins would serve for daggers in case of need, being sharp enough and strong enough to dispatch a man.
Really?
Fancy Juliet carrying her dagger in her hair, though, to be sure, Theodora took a gold pin from her hair to dispatch Marcellus. That's from the Philadelphia Times. So basically...
I know that word, Marcellus.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so hat pins are lethal weapons.
Yeah.
Maybe we should bring those back.
Let's do it.
Because, that's a whole nother huge conversation. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. We could use our hat pins against either.
Mm-hmm. Would resolve the need of putting your car keys between your fingers.
Yeah, like we were all taught to do.
Yep. Everlasting faithfulness. That just sounds sweet.
It's a short one, so I'm going to guess it's not very sweet.
Charlie, dear, said the rustic young girl.
Rustic?
Rustic? R-U-S-T-I-C, said the rustic young girl.
Okay.
Will you love me as now and cling to me always? Yes, darling, replied the matter-of-fact lover. I'll stick to you as tight as those freckles on your nose.
Aw, that's actually really cute.
No, it's so cute.
I got freckles on my nose.
Me too. I'll stick to you like the freckles on your nose, friend.
I'm going to use that for my kids.
Aww.
They both have freckles on their noses.
That's so sweet.
Aw, I love it.
Aww.
Well, another one in the books.
We did it.
Next week, I'm not sure what we got going on, but it'll be lighter, I think.
Okay.
Maybe a little less finances. Just for you, friend.
Thanks.
But stick around till October, though, because witches.
Witches. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
thank you guys for listening. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at That's What They Called News, and Twitter at That's News Pod. And if you have any story suggestions, anything you want us to dig out of the archives, shoot us an email at thatswhattheycallednews@gmail.com.
thanks for listening.
Goodbye.